All right, there's the lady. She said recording in progress. So we're on, guys. All of my YouTube stars, welcome to the Unity of Livonia, A Course in Miracles study group. And I'm glad to have you here, and I hope your Christmas and holiday preparations are going well. Mine are going fine. I'm not doing too much, not a lot of festivities at all, but still nonetheless appreciating the season and what it represents. One of the things I want to be sure and reiterate is that we're making some adjustments in our meeting dates. I've discussed this before, I guess, the last couple of weeks. Our meeting for next week or next Tuesday is Christmas Eve, December 24th. So we're moving that meeting to Thursday, December 26th. And then the following week, we would be scheduled to meet on New Year's Eve. And we're going to move that from December 31st to January 2nd. Sound good?
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, let's get Ron in here, and we know we're ready to go. Let's see if he's having dessert. Ron, where are you?
He's coming.
Okay. It says Zoom 1. Ron, are you there?
There he is. Hi,
Right.
Ron.
Hello, Ron.
I don't see Ron.
Do you now?
Oh, there you are. There you are.
Hey, what's up, buddy? You having your fruit?
Yes, I am, as usual.
All right. So you see, we have a new person with us tonight, Ron. Her name is Stacy, and she can see right off the bat what a close family we are. I know when you're gonna be eating dessert. I even know what the dessert's going to be. So Stacy, you see, we're quite a family here. We have, we're almost at the end of another year in our 1-year study of A Course in Miracles. So we've got about, I don't know, 2 more sessions. Let's see, tonight's the 17th, and yeah. So we meet again on the 26th, and then we'll meet January 2nd, and we'll be done with our 1-year study of the course itself. So we do a year with that, and Stacy, I'm kind of looking at you and getting you a bit oriented here. We do a cover-to-cover study of A Course in Miracles. We use the Foundation for Inner Peace edition. Are you familiar with that?
No, but Gina sent it to me.
Okay. There are a few other editions, but the Foundation for Inner Peace, or FIP edition, is the one that was originally sanctioned by Helen Schuckman, who was the scribe of A Course in Miracles, the very first publication of it. Are you familiar with Helen Schuckman? You heard that name?
I've heard her name. Yes.
Okay.
1975, somewhere in that vicinity.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. So that is the version we're using. It's just that the third edition of that, the latest version published, not only has the original 3 books in the course, one is called the text, then there's the workbook for students, and finally, the manual for teachers. So those are the original 3 books. But this group also studies the 2 supplements that are included in the latest edition of A Course in Miracles. And the 2 supplements, one is called Psychotherapy, and the second is called The Song of Prayer. Now, these 2 supplements were also scribed by Helen Schuckman and have now been included in the same cover as the body of A Course in Miracles. Have I confused you already, dear?
No, I actually read 2 of the pages of each one. For
Gina
tonight.
sent you those, didn't she? All
Yeah.
right, excellent.
Mhm.
So this could be a complicated conversation, but I'm just gonna keep it brief if that's okay.
Yep.
And I think you'll do very well with it. Feel free to ask questions.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, a lot of times I've been in situations, especially with the course, where I couldn't even form a question. It was so blurry, right?
Right. I understand.
Yeah, okay. One of the for the rest of us, for the entire group, will be finishing up the body of A Course in Miracles within the next 2 weeks. And then January 7th, we start our study of the 2 supplements. And that, I estimate, it will take us about 3 months.
Okay.
So we'll be working on the supplements January, February, March, and I'm hoping beginning April 1st of next year, we'll start the entire course over from page 1.
Okay.
Is there anyone that's been through the supplements before with me?
I have.
Okay. So they're very interesting, aren't they?
Pretty much.
And yet very gratifying somehow, but hard to explain, I guess, like the rest of A Course in Miracles. So it's all lines up together. It's all good. And I was talking to Stacy before we all got here and started, and just telling her that we're not at the beginning of the book, but I hope that she'll find something compelling from wherever we are. What I thought we could do tonight, guys, is to kind of jumpstart our 3-month study by at least getting ourselves introduced to the ACIM supplements. And so there's just a little short introduction that the course provides about these supplements. Why don't I put it up on the screen and just read it? It's only about 3 short paragraphs, okay?
Okay.
Now, one of the things we do, Stacy, in order to read through the course is we just assign readers. And
Okay.
so we're going to start our reading list. And would you like to read, Stacy, as our first reader? You were the first one here.
Sure.
Okay, see, she's daring. I like her already. All right, Stacy is 1, Frank is 2. Hilda, Howard, what do you want to do tonight? Hildegard? Yes, read. Okay, she's muted. Nancy is 4. Okay, Nance?
Okie dokie.
All right, Sherilyn 5, Joan 6,
Okay,
Ron 7. And I'm going to put this up and have our first reader to read it. Let's do the sharing thing here. I think that's what I want. Yeah. No, that's not what I want. Hold on. Remember, I'm still trying to become a Zoom expert. I'm still working on it, guys. All right. Now,
Ooh,
let's see. Can you see that, or do I need to make it bigger? It says supplements to A Course in Miracles. Do I need to make
yeah,
it
make
larger?
it bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much do you want me to read?
Well, I think it's pretty short. So I'm thinking I want you to maybe read all of it. See, that's all it is.
All right. Okay. That's fine. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Supplements to A Course in Miracles. The 2 supplements, Psychotherapy, Purpose, Process, Practice, and the Song of Prayer, were scribed by Dr. Helen Schuckman as A Course in Miracles and are extensions of its principles. Psychotherapy began in 1973 and completed in 1975, offers a summary of the course's principles of healing. 2 people joined in sharing a common interest or goal. While obstinately written for psychotherapists, all readers can benefit from its teachings. The Song of Prayer was scribed in 1977, and its 3 chapters summarize the course's teaching on prayer, forgiveness, and healing. It first presents the ego's wrong-minded understanding of these terms, which is then contrasted with the Holy Spirit's right-minded view. These supplements presuppose a basic understanding of the course's teachings and are helpful adjuncts to students' study and practice of A Course in Miracles.
So, the Course in Miracles itself was first published in 1976. But Helen also started, it says she completed from 73 to 75 this supplement called Psychotherapy. And she said it came from the same voice that instructed her to write A Course in Miracles. Similarly, the Song of Prayer also came to her the same way. So it seems to be more of A Course in Miracles made more specific to an understanding of 2 things. Psychotherapy. By the way, remember here, for those that have studied this before, what does Jesus say about psychotherapy? Anybody remember anything that stood out? This would have been from like the summer of 2023. Jesus says all therapy is psychotherapy. Remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
and we found that interesting, but as usual, we gave him a chance to explain it, and he did a hell of a job, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
Even though we can't say specifics, we remember it was impressive. And the same thing with the Song of Prayer. And both of these offer definitions which are quite different than anything we had ever heard about them. So I will be showing you and doing an overview of each of the sections we'll be covering, like from January 7th until the end of March. I'll bring that study schedule in to kind of give you an overview of it at our meeting on January 2nd. But I thought I'd get a head start on that schedule by at least doing these introductions. Tonight we'll do the supplements introduction, and then next week I'll go over the introduction to psychotherapy. So there's a lot to cover in that 90-day span. So I thought I'd just get a head start by getting some of the introductory work done ahead of time. So I hope I've excited your curiosity about that. And now I think we're ready to get into our regular study. And tonight we are in the supplement to the manual for teachers called the clarification of terms. I'm laughing because all the way I'm thinking about my friend Stacy and how I can help. And I think the best thing for me to do is in terms of helping her is let's just get started, okay? Where
That'd be
we're
great.
picking up tonight is on page 83 in the clarification of terms section. It's part of the manual for teachers. Stacy, do you have a book?
I don't. I'm going to listen.
All right. So, yeah, I saw some of your correspondence with Gina. So she suggested the right book for you and things like that. And so if you have any issues, feel free to contact her or give me a call or send me an email. I'm happy to help, okay?
Okay.
So
Great, thank
why
you.
don't you just plan on listening and we'll show you how we do this thing, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, we are up to Frank. We're on page 83, did I say?
Right,
Yes.
All right, buddy, let's do it.
okay. Heading 3, forgiveness, the face of Christ. Paragraph 1, forgiveness is for God and toward God, but not of him. It is impossible to think of anything. He created that could need the forgiveness. Forgiveness then is an illusion, but because of its purpose, which is the Holy Spirit, it has the one difference. Unlike all other illusions, it leads away from error and not towards it.
Thank you, Frank. Hildegard?
Forgiveness might be called a kind of happy fiction, a way in which the unknowing can bridge the gap between their perception and the truth. They cannot go directly from perception to knowledge because they do not think it is their will to do so. This makes God appear to be an enemy instead of what he really is. And it is just this insane perception that makes them unwilling merely to rise up and return to him in peace.
All right, good deal. Paragraph 1, forgiveness is for God and toward God, but not of him. Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Mhm.
How about if I read a little more? Forgiveness then is an illusion. Did you know that?
No.
Already we're imparting some valuable information. Then what's good about it? It's not real. Forgiveness then is an illusion, but because of its purpose, which is the Holy Spirit's, it has one difference. Unlike all other illusions, it leads away from error and not towards it. So any of you experienced folks want to explain what was just said in paragraph 1? The first thing we established, wait a minute, what is forgiveness? Let's start there.
It's a correction of errors.
Okay,
And my interpretation of the first sentence really is that forgiveness, God doesn't need to forgive anything because he considers everything that he created to be perfect. And so there would be no need. But there is a need because we have to deal with ordinary, everyday situations living on earth.
okay, I'm with you there, except I would pick with forgiveness is how you correct errors, right?
Yes.
So forgiveness is more process oriented. It's more the method that you use for correction. To move into a state of correction, you use something that we would call forgiveness. What is forgiveness? It's not so much the correction. I just want to offer a lay definition here that you may find helpful. Forgiveness is letting go of things that aren't true, regardless of appearance. I'm going to let that go because regardless of appearance, it's not so. So I'm going to let it go so I don't debate about it. I don't try and analyze it. I don't try and understand it. How can the not real be understood? What else is there to understand about it? Are you trying to make sense of it? Your ego loves that, to get you analyzing it. Well, what is the problem? And, oh, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. You're incapable of doing anything wrong. Thinking you did something wrong is how you got into this mess. Stop doing that. What's it say on the first page, kind of the introduction to A Course in Miracles? It says, teaching the meaning of love is not the purpose of this course, or something like that, right? What is the purpose of the course according to that first page?
Peace.
Well, yeah, but on the first page it says something like the purpose of this course is to remove the blocks to your awareness of love's presence. All right. So what we're trying to do is to remove the barriers to your awareness of what you truly are. How am I doing now?
Good.
If I could remove those barriers, well, here, let's go back to Hilda. How do I remove the barriers, Hilda? What is the process for removing the barriers? Starts with an F.
Forgive.
Okay. Do you see why it's more of steps to removing barriers? Now, if I remove the barriers, I don't have to do anything else, because what you are has never changed. You've just covered it over with mistaken ideas about yourself. And it is those mistaken ideas that are the source of all your pain and suffering. So you come to me in a state of pain and suffering and wanting to find a way out, wanting to find a way to happiness, a way to love. How do I get there? Okay, I'm gonna answer how you get there. It's not by going anywhere. It's by removing the artificial barriers that you have made and simply be as God created you. How do you remove the barriers? Through a process called forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is an illusion. But everything we do here in level 2 is an illusion, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, here's a clarification for my friend, Miss Johnson. It's very helpful for us to talk about level 1 and level 2. You know, the course says the world is an illusion. You know that much, Stacy? Yes. Level 1 is heaven or reality, and level 2 is here in the dream world or the illusion. So when you hear us say level 1 or level 2, that helps distinguish whether we're talking about the realm of truth or the realm of illusion. So let's getting back to this. An illusion, what's an illusion, guys and girls and gals?
Something that's not true.
When is it not true?
All the time.
All the time.
So being not true, what value does it hold?
None.
No value.
Did
No.
you all say something like none?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Nancy, I
None.
interrupted you.
That's all right, but is that what you were going to say, Ron?
Yes.
Okay. So an illusion is an illusion is an illusion. What is a happy illusion? Not true. What is a miserable illusion? Not true. What is a medium, neutral illusion? Not true.
True.
An illusion being not true has no value except one. What is the one value it can have?
Whatever value we give to it,
Say that again, Ron.
whatever value we choose to give to it.
Not true.
Lessons to be learned.
That's what I'm looking for, Ron.
Okay.
The only value an illusion can have is as a lesson. All right, let's do this one. You'll remember this one. In The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy went to this imaginary land called the Land of Oz, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It was an illusion. In the end, she was home sleeping, having a dream, right?
Right.
So it wasn't real. It had no value except, as Nancy said, a teaching value. It offered a lesson. Yes?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What was the valuable lesson Dorothy learned?
There's no place like
No
home.
place like home.
Okay. Now let's get more spiritual on this. The parable of the prodigal son. Have any of you heard of that one?
Of course.
Stacy, you heard of it? Is that your hand? Yes.
Mhm.
All right. So the story is this young man became of age and he went to his father and he said, Dad, give me my inheritance because I'm going to this faraway land because I think that's where my happiness is. So his father gave him the inheritance and sent him off with his blessings. What happened then? Did everything work out and the son was happily ever after?
Nope.
What
He,
happened?
he squandered all the money and is destitute.
Okay. And then, so what did he have to do?
He returned home.
Going home.
So it didn't work out, right?
Right.
So what if I told you that the father knew there was no faraway land? And he could have told the kids, look, there's no faraway land. That's stupid. But he was a wise father and knew that talk is cheap. So he said, I'll let you find out for yourself. So he allowed the son to go to this imaginary faraway land to find happiness. Don't you think the father knew the son would be back.
Yes.
That's why he didn't argue to keep him home. And because it was this faraway land did not exist, we could call it an illusion.
Yes.
He knew the son couldn't really be hurt. How much harm can an illusion do? Being unreal.
It really can't do any harm.
All right. So the illusion there, it was completely safe because it wasn't real. And so the outcome is that the son finally came home and never left home again, I presume. Did he learn the same thing as Dorothy?
Yes.
And so the illusion had value as a teaching tool. How am I doing now?
Good.
Great.
Forgiveness is for God and toward God. I'm reading paragraph 1, sentence 1, but not of God. God is the author of reality. So if everything is perfect, what is there to forgive?
Nothing.
And yet, because you perceive everything is not perfect in your hallucination, will use your illusions instead of making more illusions as a way to start turning you around. So we'll say, let that go. And what do you call that letting go? Oh, you call it forgiveness, right?
Right.
Right.
All right, let's use that. Let's take one more just to make sure we're clear on this. We say that God is omnipotent, all power, omniscient, all knowing, omnipresent, everywhere at once. So, what does omniscient mean again?
Knowing.
All knowing.
So, if you're all knowing, what is there to learn? Why would I create learning if you're already omnipresent? I'm sorry, omniscient. I'm sorry, omniscient. What is there to learn? And yet, you guys believe in something called learning, right?
Right.
Right.
So I'm going to use this illusion to teach you ultimately that you have nothing to learn. I am going to meet you where you are in terms of a loving solution to your perceived problems. I'm going to take the things you believe in, as unreal as they are, and I am going to transform those into the lessons you need to awaken you. Is that cool or what?
Sounds good.
Is it loving?
Yes.
Yes.
So it has integrity with God is love. My church taught me, basically it said, God is love, but don't piss him off or he'll kick your butt. Is that what your traditional church kind of implied?
Pretty much, pretty much.
Yeah, he'll like send you to hell and stuff. And here I am, a little stupid kid, and I'm going, well, how can God be love if he's gonna kick your butt? If I get out of line, if I do anything wrong, love will turn to punishment. It's like trying to put stuff together that don't go together. And I thought it was just me because I'm a little kid. What do I know? Maybe when I grow up and mature, I'll understand that. But A Course in Miracles was very confirming. It said that dilemma you noticed when you were a kid, you were right. Love cannot be fearful. Isn't that what the Course teaches?
Yes.
So here's some of the things upon your request for help that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna meet you where you are by using the things you do believe in, as untrue as they are. I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna use an illusion called forgiveness to help you remove the blocks to your awareness of love's presence and to your awareness that love and only love is what you are. I'm going to use learning, which is stupid when you already know. But yes, the Holy Spirit's going to meet you where you are and act as though I'm going to teach you something new. I'm going to do miracle stuff like use time to teach you there is no time. What kind of clocks would you use in eternity? What would you use them for? But since you believe in clocks and times and limitations, I'll use that to give you time to get out of this mess. So I'm going to use your illusions as teaching tools, as lessons. Somebody quote lesson 193 for me.
Okay.
All things are lessons God would have me learn. Did it ever occur to you that everything that we made for rebellion, the Holy Spirit has transformed them into lessons to show us the way home? Now, I made my usual too long talk on the first two paragraphs. So let's see. Paragraph 2, just to summarize. Forgiveness might be called a kind of happy fiction. Does that make sense from what we've discussed?
Yes.
A way in which the unknowing can bridge the gap between their perceptions and the truth. They cannot go directly from perception to knowledge because they do not think it is their will to do so. So we've already talked about the distinction between perception and knowledge. Perception comes from individual consciousness. That is all it is capable of. Perception is how you see things. If I were to ask each of you how you see things, is it possible you might see things somewhat differently?
Yes.
Of course.
That is perception. That is separation. That is individual awareness. It cannot see the big picture. But knowledge comes from the universal consciousness, which we would call God, or you can call it whatever you want. I call it the thing that's in charge, and it's not me. Was never me, is not now me, never will be me. And if I see things from my perspective, I'm gonna be short-sighted every time. So I need somebody with me that can see the big picture, that can see things clearly. I can see clearly now, at any rate. It's seeing the big picture so you can see how to move forward, or whatever the next step is, and it's not faulty. Let's go on to paragraph 3. I know you're saying at long last. Any other comments on 1 and 2, guys? Then
That was very helpful.
Yes, very helpful.
oh, good. Hey, all right. I took a long time. Hilda, are we up? No,
No, I just read.
right? Are we on paragraph 3?
Yes.
Paragraph 3.
Yes.
Nancy's our next reader.
All righty. And so they need an illusion of help because they are helpless, a thought of peace because they are in conflict. God knows what his son needs before he asks. He is not at all concerned with form, but having given the content, it is his will that it be understood. And that suffices. The form adapts itself to need. The content is unchanging, as eternal as its creator.
All right. So how come this clarification of terms, like the others so far, is in pairs? Have you ever noticed he's talking about 2 things at a time to offer maybe contrast, I guess? At any rate, let's go on to paragraph 4. And now he's going to talk about the second half of that. Sherilyn, we're up to you, dear.
Okay. The face of Christ has to be seen before the memory of God can return. The reason is obvious. Seeing the face of Christ involves perception. No one can look on knowledge, but the face of Christ is the great symbol of forgiveness. It is salvation. It is the symbol of the real world. Whoever looks on this no longer sees the world. He is as near to heaven as is possible outside the gate. Yet from this gate, it is no more than just a step inside. It is the final step, and this we leave to God.
Oh boy, I think we just lost Stacy.
Uh-oh.
Maybe she said her Zoom might time out. But at any rate, make some sense of paragraph 4 for me. Why are we using the face of Christ? does Christ have a face?
No,
And when we say Christ, are we talking about Jesus Christ?
No,
Think about the great symbol of forgiveness.
All right. Do you agree that he was a symbol of this process in action?
Yes.
Yeah. He said that forgiveness is the process for removing the blocks to the awareness of what we are. Do you want to know what you are? It seems like all humans in the species have this question, what am I? So I get the feeling that, well, here, let's go. Do you know anybody else named Christ that you've heard of before we got here other than Jesus Christ?
No,
No.
All right. So Jesus, would you say, was able to demonstrate forgiveness?
Yes.
Is that what Jesus talked about or exemplified all the time?
yes,
Yes.
So it served as an example in form, but forms are illusions, aren't they?
yes,
Yeah.
So, in and of itself, it wasn't real, except as what?
an illusion.
A teaching tool.
Tool.
Okay. So that's what I think is being said here. The face of Christ has to be seen before the memory of God can return. Seeing the face of Christ involves perception. No one can look on knowledge, but you can perceive things. And so Jesus, the author of this book, right, is said to have come into the world to demonstrate the process of forgiveness and how it can be applied no matter what the situation, even to crucifixion, even to so-called death. He kept forgiving, right? And so the moral of the story is that Jesus could not be killed. And my understanding is that is what he came to teach us, is that none of these illusions can have an effect on what you truly are. Let's keep going here because we're on paragraph 5, aren't we?
yes.
Yes.
Are we up to Joan?
okay. Paragraph 5. Forgiveness is a symbol too, but as the symbol of his will alone, it cannot be divided. And so the unity that it reflects becomes his will. It is the only thing still in the world in part, and yet the bridge to heaven.
Man, I'm getting confused now. What? Who is his? His will. Didn't you wonder who they're talking about there in paragraph 5?
God's will. It's God's will for us.
Yeah, it's God's will.
Okay. So if I say forgiveness is a symbol too, but as the symbol of God's will alone, it cannot be divided. And so the unity that it reflects becomes God's will. It is the only thing still in the world in part, and yet the bridge to heaven. Have you noticed that all of these discussions don't get us into heaven? There, for example, in paragraph 4, sentence 9,
Mhm.
he is as near to heaven as is possible outside the gate. Yet there's no more than just a step inside. And then this next one says a bridge. So none of them gets us there, does it? Do you know what I'm thinking about when it says, and God will take the final step? Do you see all of these activities and teachings are designed to bring us to heaven's gate? And how it has changed our perception makes our perceptions high enough to where they don't conflict with the will of God. So it's easy for God to take the final step because of the preparation that the Holy Spirit is doing. It's making that bridge. It's using the illusions we made for rebellion and using them in the direction of a better purpose now. They're designed for the atonement. That's the one, Hilda, the correction of errors in thinking, the corrections that remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. All of that is so that we're prepared to come back home. There won't be a difference between what we will in the realm of perception and what is true in the realm of what is God's will. It's the Holy Spirit is making us match up again by removing the things that were contradictory from us. Let's continue. I'm getting in big trouble here tonight. But I'm gonna just keep going. Ron, we're at paragraph 6.
Yes. God's will is all there is. We can but go from nothingness to everything, from hell to heaven. Is this a journey? No, not in truth. The truth goes nowhere, but illusions shift from place to place from time to time. The final step is also but a shift. As a perception, it is part unreal, and yet this part will vanish. What remains is peace eternal and the will of God.
Thanks, Ron. And I'm gonna go to Frank since Stacy's not here to read paragraph 7.
There are no wishes now, for wishes change. Even the wished for can become unwelcome. That must be so because the ego cannot be at peace, but will is constant as a gift of God, and what he gives is always like himself. This is the purpose of the faith of Christ. It is the gift of God to save his son. But look on this, and you have been forgiven.
And let's finish it up here, Hilda.
How lovely does the world become in just that single instant when you see the truth about yourself reflected there. Now you are sinless and behold your sinlessness. Now you are holy and perceive it so. And now the mind returns to its creator. The joining of the Father and the Son, the unity of unities, that stands behind all joining, but beyond them all. God is not seen, but only understood. His Son is not attacked, but recognized.
All right, I'm feeling the need to just put some very simple things on the table, not to take away from the beauty of what's being written here. The plan of salvation that we've all asked for, what am I? Why am I here? This place doesn't feel just right. Can someone help me? I need a savior. Lesson 358 says, no call to God can be unheard nor left unanswered. Our prayers have been answered since time began, awaiting our acceptance. So here's what's been done. Things from level 1 have been introduced into the illusion of level 2. Level 2 is the realm of illusion, right?
Right.
So anything that's in level 2, is it real?
No.
It can't be. It has to transform into an illusion, into a myth, into a story. So over time, it seems like we've had these great people come into our world. I don't know, let's, from the Bible standpoint, let's start out with people like Abraham. Y'all know Abraham from the Old Testament?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, all the other religions in that, they'll have a corresponding story of different masters that showed up in the world, okay? Were the masters real?
No.
Is any of this real?
No.
No.
And yet, mercy would have God to work within the realm of perception by using certain illusory methods, because that is what is in operation here. So people think I'm being sacrilegious when I ask, was Jesus real? Was Moses real? Was Buddha real? Is Martin Luther King real? Is Ron real? Hilda real? How could they be if they can be perceived? Now, is that bad news to you, or does it simply make sense? If the whole world is an illusion, why would Jesus be an exception, my friends?
Mhm.
Or is that too sacrilegious for you? What I'm trying to get you to see is that the plan of God took the things we believed in to teach us not to believe in them. It's like an extraordinary plan, but what would you do in a situation like that? What's a savior to do when people have been so misled by their own wanderings that they need help to get back home? And I'll bet when we awaken and get back home, we'll want to stay there of our own volition, because we did not like this leaving home and trying to find a faraway land, or even Oz. So that's how I'm trying to close this out. And that's why I'm saying here, forgiveness and the face of Christ are simply useful allusions in answer to our prayers. What do you think, Cheryl and White?
I think you're right.
Thank you. How about the rest of you?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll tell you, I was starting to get lost in all the discussion. I could spend time trying to go through every sentence, but to me, all he's saying is, I'm helping you in a language you can understand as a perceiver. So let's just stay here tonight and go on to the next clarification of terms called true perception hyphen or versus knowledge. And who's our next reader? I forgot.
Let's see.
Where we leave off.
I guess it
I
would
think
be,
I am.
Yes, makes sense. Please go ahead, dear.
True perception, knowledge. The world you see is an illusion of a world. God did not create it, for what he creates must be eternal as himself. Yet there is nothing in the world you see that will endure forever. Some things will last in time a little while longer than others. But the time will come when all things visible will have an end.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's go to whoever's next. Sherilyn?
The body's eyes are therefore not the means by which the real world can be seen, for the illusions that they look upon must lead to more illusions of reality, and so they do. For everything they see not only will not last, but lends itself to thoughts of sin and guilt, while everything that God created is forever without in sin and therefore is forever without guilt.
And what? Let's do another, and then we'll stop. We're up to Joan.
Okay, paragraph 3. Knowledge is not the remedy for false perceptions, since, being another level, they can never meet. The one correction possible for false perception must be true perception. It will not endure, but for the time it lasts, it comes to heal. For true perception is a remedy with many names: forgiveness, salvation, atonement, true perception, all are one. They are the one beginning, with the end to lead to oneness far beyond themselves. True perception is the means by which the world is saved from sin, for sin does not exist. And it is this that true perception sees.
We, is that still flowing from what we were just talking about?
Mhm.
What happens here in paragraph 3? Knowledge is not the remedy for false perception, since being another level, they can never meet. Let's start there. Do you understand?
Well, knowledge is level 1.
And
Perception is level
is
2, so they
level.
don't meet ever.
All right. So for me to just directly show you knowledge is beyond anything you can conceive of with your individual consciousnesses. The thing that you believe you are is separation based. So, how can I talk to you about wholeness in a language you can understand? You can't conceive of wholeness. It's enough trying to be Nancy. Right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not picking on Nancy, but it's like I have to help you in a language that you are capable of understanding. So what I'll do is introduce forms. You understand forms, right? You
Yes.
can perceive that this is a table and that's a chair, that this is light and this is dark, and this is tall and this is short. So I'm going to have to try and convey to you in illusory terms something that will get you beyond the illusion. Anything else that you notice there? There's in paragraph 3, sentence 2, the one correction possible for false perception is not knowledge, but true perception. Perception is a dream world. It's a level 2 idea. So, do you see why the whole strategy is to change your dream? Talk to me. Do you see it? I can't awaken you directly, but there is an intermediate step I can do. And I can teach you to dream, to perceive differently. Tell me again, what is the advantage of having us perceive differently? I'll have a closer match between perception and knowledge. I'll raise your perceptions as high as perception can go to what you are dreaming is just like reality. 50 miracle principles. I think it was number 7. Miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. I have to elevate your perception to where it's not contradicting reality. Now we have a dream that looks just like the truth. It's not the truth being of perception. You with me? But man, they're so similar that there's no conflict between them. And now I can take the final step that you've been asking me for since time began. Get me out of here. Awaken me. I can't awaken you if you're going to perceive it as an attack. What would you think of a loving God that attacked you? The same thing I used to think in my old church. It lacks integrity. It lacks non-duality. It can be only one thing all the time that always acts the same way. It is the only loving solution that would appear to be possible. I'm going to get you to dream differently so that your dream, your perception is close to reality. Do you see why it says heaven's gate? It didn't say in heaven yet, did it? But the high perception brings us to heaven's gate, to where opening the door is not going to be an attack on what you believe. You already believe it. You already perceive it. That's why the strategy is to raise our perceptions to the point that we are able to go beyond reception and merge into reality once again. Worth it or no? I told you that. Didn't I tell you a couple weeks ago it was going to be headache time?
That's fine. I could use one.
Okay. So if you're able to understand this plan, and we're going to finish this section up and close tonight, but do you see why the key to living in a peaceful life with that peace that passeth all understanding is understanding God's plan of salvation? So now when you live your life every day, you see it as a classroom for your good. You say, well, what about the bad parts? I remember, let me ask you this. Remember when you used to take the spelling test and you got certain words wrong, and yet the ones you got wrong, you never forgot them again? So was getting it wrong a bad thing?
No.
Okay. So the same thing. Don't have an opinion about it. Just understand that the good, the bad, and the ugly, as my ego sees it, is all good. Can you be at peace now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you stop getting angry with your friends when you realize that they're just images in your dream, giving you lessons?
Definitely.
So, what other alternatives are there except peace when you realize you're part of a plan? Let's finish this up and we'll close tonight. Did we do 5?
I believe we're on 4.
Are we? We got a lot to go here. Let's just
Yeah.
keep reading. Ron, do 4, and then we'll just keep going and see what comes out of it.
The world stands like a block before Christ's face, but true perception looks on it as nothing more than just a fragile veil, so easily dispelled that it can last no longer than an instant. It is seen as last for only what it is, and now it cannot fail to disappear, for now there is an empty place made clean and ready. Where destruction was perceived, the face of Christ appears, and in that instant is the world forgot. With time forever ended as the world spins into nothingness from where it came.
Thank you, sir. And Frank, we're back to you.
A world forgiven cannot last. It was the home of bodies, but forgiveness looks past bodies. This is the holiness. This is how it heals. The world of bodies is the world of sin. Only if there were a body is sin possible. From sin comes guilt, as surely as forgiveness takes all guilt away. And once all guilt is gone, whatever remains to keep a separated world in place. For place has gone as well, along with time. Only the body makes the world seem real. For being separate, it could not remain where separation is impossible. Forgiveness proves it is impossible because it sees it not. And what you then will overlook will not be understandable to you as its presence once held been your certainty.
And let's just keep going. Hilda?
This is the shift that true perception brings. What was projected out is seen within, and their forgiveness lets it disappear. For there the altar to the Son is set, and there his Father is remembered. Here are all illusions brought to truth and laid upon the altar. What is seen outside must lie beyond forgiveness, for it seems to be forever sinful. Where is hope while sin is seen as outside? What remedy can guilt expect? But seen within your mind, guilt and forgiveness for an instant lie together, side by side, upon one altar. There at last are sickness and its single remedy joined in one healing brightness. God has come to claim his own. Forgiveness is complete.
Number 7, and now God's knowledge, changeless, certain, pure, and wholly understandable, enters its kingdom. Gone is perception, false and true alike. Gone is forgiveness, for its task is done. And gone are bodies in the blazing light upon the altar to the Son of God. God knows it is his own, as it is his. And here they join, for here the face of Christ is shown away time's final instant. And now is the last perception of the world without a purpose and without a cause. But where God's memory has come at last, there is no journey, no belief in sin, no walls, no bodies, and the grim appeal of guilt and death is there snuffed out forever.
And Sherilyn, please finish us up tonight.
Paragraph 8. Oh, my brothers, if you only knew the peace that will envelop you and hold you safe and pure and lovely in the mind of God, you could but rush to meet him where his altar is. Hallowed your name and his, for they are joined here in this holy place. Here he leans down to lift you up to him, out of illusions into holiness, out of the world and to eternity, out of all fear and given back to love.
So I'll just share with you, I've covered these before. It gets really, what do you think? I mean, what did you get out of this section?
I got a lot out of it from the very beginning of it.
And yet, if I ask you to tell me what you got out of it or share, what would you say?
Well, we talked a lot about this world and the fact this is not a real world. And when we rise to the point where God is, this is where I get difficult and have trouble just explaining things. My brain is
Well,
too
so
old.
so good. I like what you're saying. Keep going.
It's good to know that God is the source, the end of it, where we are to go, where we are to be is with him. And what I got from it too is that when we no longer need to be in this world, we won't be. We'll be with God in his world.
And you said it's good that we can go to God.
Yes.
But see, let me trip you up.
But
Go ahead, Hilda.
I was saying, but we have to go really with the assumption that we are with God already. We just for a while and have sort of forgotten.
We
Right.
never left God.
A little side
Yes.
to us.
So
Thank you.
what we're trying to do is to erase the illusion
Right.
this ever happened because it did not
Didn't.
happen. Do you see how tricky that is to our thinking?
Well, it's hard for my brain to
My,
stay with it.
All our brains.
yeah. And so that's why, I don't know, I was getting a little disinterested in all the language and all of that. All I'm saying, folks, and I think all that's being taught here is this is a lesson. All the world is merely all the world is a stage, and all the men and women are merely actors. So give it its due, play your part, but don't act as though it's real. It's, if you go to a movie or a play, it has a message, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
What is the message of the world? I don't know, but I'm performing in the production.
What it says to me.
Play my part. Comment and we'll close out. Sherilyn?
I lost it again. What it says to me is that it's just we are taking it too seriously. It's taking up too much of our energy and our time,
Yes.
and we need to let it go.
we're treating it as though it's real.
It's not.
It's not real. It's an illusion, but it's a teaching illusion.
It's
In
amazing to me how
answer- Go ahead.
it's amazing to me how we can get so caught up in it.
And yet, some of us will get caught up in it again tomorrow.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Right? Because this has permeated everything that we've been taught, and our parents taught us, and their parents taught them, and back and back. So I understand it's hard to stay in this zone, but you can do the best you can if you believe that this is the truth. Would it go to explaining some of the craziness and insanity and things like that, and our anxieties and fears and difficulties? Isn't it good to know
Yes.
it's not real, that we're at home in God, dreaming of exile? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Plus,
Thank you.
at your request, I am in the process of waking you up. How long will it take? I did it in an instant, but you got free will. You have to decide when to accept it for yourself. Is that love or what?
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. We went over, I don't think that part's new. What is new is we didn't make it to our workbook study at all. But I'm just trying to get through this and not have too much of a headache. So,
A good
any
headache.
final comments before we get Hilda in here tonight?
Another good class, very insightful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Jim.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
thank
yeah. This was tough for me.
Yeah.
Anywho, Hildegard, let's close while we're ahead here.
Okay. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I am the light of God.
I
I am
the
the
light
light
of
of God.
I am the love of God.
I
I
am the love of
the
God.
love of God.
I am the power of God.
I
am the
am
power
the
of
power
God.
of God.
I am the presence of God.
I
I
am.
I am the
presence of
presence of
God.
God.
Therefore,
There.
Therefore,
wherever I am,
wherever I am,
God is,
God
God is,
and all is well.
and
all
Is
is well.
well.
There is nothing to fear.
there
There
is
is nothing to fear.
There is only
There's
love.
only love.
There is
There's
only love.
only love.
Namaste.
Namaste.
all right. Have a good rest of the week. I hope that you're on Santa's list and everything. You've been a good boy or girl. And I will see you the day after Christmas, right?
Yes.
All right. Take care, my friends. I love you.
Love you.
Okay,
too.
love you too, Jim.
Have a good
Merry
evening.
Christmas,
Have a blessed week,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas to you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Stay
Christmas,
well.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.